Hey, welcome back to our garden. Sorry, it's been a while, and it's kind of raggedy right now, but we just wanted to show you where it's at, keep it real. It is late September, so we've just entered autumn, and this is the best time of the year as far as it not being too hot and humid and starting to cool down. We have just added our lavender row. I'm really excited about that. The goal is that it's a buffer between the road and this permaculture property that we've started. Just a really drought tolerant plant, bringing in pollinators, really useful. So we're excited that it will get good drainage from this, and hopefully it helps with there not being erosion or anything, and it just creates this beautiful buffer. Anyways, if you look back at one of our the first no-dig video we did for the permaculture property, you can see how we started this entire area by laying down cardboard straight on the grass and then covering it with mulch. And then where we planted, we put compost. And so that's the only row that has compost. That's where we put in some tulip bulbs, or not tulip, lily bulbs and dahlia bulbs, put some sunflower seeds, and this is coxcomb. So we just scattered that, and it's amazing how just beautiful and prolific. And it really did bring in the pollinators, and it's just been beautiful all summer to look at. The teddy bear sunflowers were amazing. They're kind of towards the end. So we've used a lot of those for cut flower bouquets and just enjoyment. And then I've been taking off the heads, but leaving some to save seed for next year. So like I'll come back and get this, and we'll remove the stalks, but we're leaving what we can for pollinators, because it's still, everything's just been covered in this area. It's just really fun to come out here and see all these different kinds of wasps and bees doing their thing. To add the biodiversity to our area that's really lacking is, it feels like such a humble privilege to be able to provide food for them and beauty for all of us. So that's been really cool. I think it's, look at that moth. Seriously, I could just sit out here for hours and play bug bingo. These flowering are the Jerusalem artichokes. Actually, we just kind of, we keep planting them. They're like perpetually producing, because we always harvest them and then just put a couple tubers back in the ground, and then they come back. So what's neat is when they flower like this, they're awesome to forage as well. So if you're driving around, and this is a great way to spot them, is when they're flowering, and then you can go back and you know where to harvest some awesome sunchokes. So plus they're just beautiful. I mean, yeah, they're kind of big. I can't wait to move them to a different location, like further back on the property. But they're doing good, doing their thing. The Job's tears I'll harvest later and save those for replanting and bead making. What's she doing? Let's go back this way and I'll show you the massive amounts of okra that we've been producing. So this is okra that we actually saved the seed from last year and then planted. These 3 long beds are market beds. We put together really fast in the spring. It was horrible compost that we got, and we used it anyways because it's what we had. So we did the same thing. We laid down cardboard. We didn't even have enough mulch at the time to put it in between the beds, so we still just have cardboard. Used these frames as kind of a pattern, grid work thing, to lay it out, and filled them with mulch, and we just put in the okra seeds that we had, sprouted, and they've done amazing in crappy compost. And then we planted sweet potatoes and watermelon underneath. The watermelon didn't do as good, but there's been a few babies here and there. But the sweet potatoes, which I'll show you on the other side, are insane. They're a jungle, and I kind of freak out walking around in them to harvest okra, worried about snakes underneath. But I'm 5'5", 5'6", or whatever, and they're clear over my head. It's getting harder to harvest. We're starting to save some for seed too, like letting them, the big ones stay on. But we've just had huge baskets of okra multiple times this summer, and it's been awesome. It just shows how quickly you can get something productive from no dig beds, and obtaining a yield in permaculture is really important for things to be able to keep going. You need food to survive, but you need to be able to have those calories to eat and consume. And so for a quick, nutritious harvest, to be able to use crappy compost to get some awesome okra is really worth it in my book. So we have 3 long rows of okra, 2 of them with sweet potato underneath. And we chose to do okra and sweet potatoes because they don't require a lot, as far as they're not demanding on the soil as far as their needs. So they can thrive in really subpar and just bad soil conditions. So they're a great pioneer plant. And with the sweet potatoes, they also don't require a lot, but the benefit of them going down and breaking up the soil is really important. And then they give us 2 crops actually, because the leaves are edible. Even though we don't gravitate towards eating them, they're totally usable. And they're just a great cover crop and breaking up the soil without a lot of needs from it. So yeah, we, like I said, we saved this seed, and it's heavy hitter variety from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, and it was actually started in Oklahoma. So that's where we're at. It's really well adapted to our climate, and it's proven itself. We're getting one of those big old baskets every 3 or 4 days, and it's honestly hard to keep up with picking it. We'll be doing our canning okra here soon, along with our jalapenos and stuff. We just harvested Friday night for farmer's market. Today's Sunday. So we just picked a ton of shishitos for the market because they always sell really good. Ignore the ugly melon vines. We're at the end of that. But we had Kajari melon and tiger melons from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, and they did really good. And we're still getting a couple, and I'm kind of surprised. So they're hanging on and giving us some early melons and late ones. So here we have all those shishitos, and they're still putting on blooms, and they're still maturing. So we'll keep getting those probably as long as it stays, I think, like as they've already started, as it stays just with 70 up, we should be able to keep harvesting. And then of course they'll die when we'll pull them out before the first frost comes. These ones are marked and left because we're saving them for seed. This is the 3rd planting of our own saved seed. So year 3 of saving seed and planting from our own seed, which is just such an awesome thing. That's why our harvests just keep getting better, bigger and better, and just able to handle weather conditions and our climate and our soil, because they've thrived here and we've saved those seeds and planted them again. We've really liked the shishitos and just grilling them up. Like you put them in a pan with some oil, salt and pepper, they'll blister, and you just add them as a side to anything, and I swear they're better than green beans. So here we have the Chinese string eggplant. There's just a few left. We got tons of eggplant this summer, and it was really good. We're kind of on the tail end of these. Here we have our boquino peppers, and is it ahi? The ahi, so boquino peppers, that's Brazilian bird speak. We have 2 plants. We started those from seed, not this year, but last year. So we had them last year, and then we dug them up, took them inside, overwintered them, and then replanted them in the spring. So they're a bit more mature, and they gave us a harvest sooner. But they are so awesome. They are not spicy. They're kind of just a flavorful little packed bite. Yeah, and then the ahi peppers from Peru, we did the same thing in starting them from seed last year, taking them inside to overwinter them, and then planting them again. And I'm so glad we got a jump start, because they take a long time to produce. But this year we've really been able to benefit from their production, and they're a little hot flavor bombs. So they are spicy. Hey Dash, what you doing? Should we go that way?
Yeah, let's go around.
Okay. What you doing? He's following us. Oh man. Ugh. Lavender looks really good, honey. Okay. All right, we got jalapenos. We've been harvesting a bunch of those, but we're gonna be saving the rest for canning. We love to do pickled jalapenos. They're just really easy and yummy to use. Huh. Our cucumbers really didn't do super great this year, and we kind of we had a lot of watering issues because we weren't here for 6 weeks during the summer, and during that time they kind of went to pot, and we just really didn't recover after that. So lots of jalapenos, and then we got poblanos. We took a bunch of poblanos to market on Saturday. That was really nice. We love to make chili rellenos. They're just awesome. Peppers and eggplants in general do really well where we're at because we have very hot, humid summers, and so we really want to be aware of that and plant things that do well. This is our little nursery holding tank. Here we have some plants that we're just holding that are going to be planted next door. So trying to take care of those, and then we'll work them into the permaculture project house. But these are our fall starts. So we have kale, broccoli, lettuce, spinach. But this bed specifically, we're going to take off the sides. We have an issue with like not enough driveway space and getting in and out of the car with our kids. So the plan is to take away a portion of this and put down pavers. So we just have a little bit more buffer for the car and for walking. And then we're also going to put some kind of pavers down the middle of here and hill up the sides and transplant our strawberry patch that has just reproduced and grown so much it needs to be thinned, and we want to use those plants. So we'll be taking that and turning it into 2 long rows and pavers down the middle from our free little library to our front door. Strawberries on the side. So that's a fall project we have to do. So as far as chickens go, the goal, I know this is very stereotypical and that this is what every girl wants, but a rainbow pack of eggs. So we have 11 laying heads, and with different varieties to give us different color eggs. So I really want the dark brown, like almost like chocolatey or red copper Moran, right? The green, blue, white, and light brown, and speckled, and all of that. So just to have a rainbow egg carton. I think in basket sounds really fun, and different varieties of birds just to see what does best for us. And then we also got our first meat birds. So those are the Cornish cross. And we've never done meat birds before, and I'm the one that ends up putting them down and in the freezer. But it's, I think it's really important to be able to do these things and know where our food comes from. And it's not something we enjoy in that aspect, but we do eat meat, and this is where it comes from. And it's something that we want to be able to not just save money in that process, but have a part of bringing it up and knowing where it's, you know. So that'll be good. We're going to be putting those next door in the backyard. They only take 8 weeks. So from 8 weeks from, you know, the hatchery to the freezer is exactly what our city ordinances allow. We had an awesome peach harvest this year. It was really great how we were able to make it back from our trip to Oregon and Washington just in the nick of time to harvest all our peaches, and they were so good, and we were able to enjoy those, take some to market. I froze a bunch of them, and we just ate them fresh and stuff. But and considering that they're under a pecan tree and they're only getting like partial sun, I mean, after the spring when all the leaves fill in, this is pretty well covered. We are going to have to transplant the persimmon, the persimmon trees, because they're not doing as well and stuff. Obviously the peaches are a little bit further out, but they're still only getting half a day of part sun, and they gave us a full harvest, so we're really proud of that. Our lemongrass is doing really good in a very shady area as well, so that's amazing. And then we dry the grass and I turn it into tea rings, so that's really fun. Hey, our Malabar spinach is doing good. It's in partial shade. It's like totally a tropical plant. So it has these like practically gelatinous leaves. They're really good. So some people don't like them because they're kind of, okay, you know how okra's got the slimy inside? These kind of have that same extra lubrication too. They turn into these dark, and they're really high in antioxidants. And you can use those purple berries for food coloring, but they do have a very strong flavor. Like, you don't want to eat a lot of them at once. Kind of flavor. And they have seeds in them, so if you're trying to grind them up for that kind of food coloring, you got to get the seeds out because you don't want to eat those, but they're so pretty. Okay, so our eggplants, these ones did okay. This is the Antigua section, and they did pretty good. There's one in there. It's buried in there. See? Yeah, that one's ready to harvest. But, but they're kind of just done. They didn't do as great as the Chinese string or long eggplant. Then we have banana peppers. The same thing with peppers, did okay here, but not as good as they could have. We've got banana peppers and different kinds of bell peppers back in there. All of these tomatoes need to be pulled. What we'll do is we'll just cut them at the roots, leave the roots in the ground, then all the microorganisms can enjoy them. But we've already got some radishes sown for that fall harvest. So they're growing. So we'll take these out. There's not a lot of, I mean, there's some new flowers, but nothing that's gonna give us more of a crop this year. So we'll pull them out, pick those. We've got, those are radishes, Swiss chard, and then we've got carrots along the back. This is another one of those ají, Peruvian ones. So I can pick those. I'm not gonna eat it. It's so hot, I'm scared. I'm not a super spicy girl when it comes to that. So these are super cool. This is the Nepali peppers. They get even redder though. But this is the Nepal pepper. From what my husband says, in Nepal, they were actually growing a lot bigger in size. So we probably don't have them in a sunny enough spot, even though they get a lot of heat from the brick and stuff. And they're in wicking beds, so they were well watered regardless of the kind of drought this summer. We had no idea how tall they were gonna get. So they've been a great shade cover for the back den window, but they kind of took out the jicama and other things we were trying to grow next to them. But they're doing good. They're really pretty. Yeah, they just have a lot of weight to them as well. Here's another one. We're gonna try and overwinter a few of these, bring them inside and then replant them out front in a better spot this next year where they can get, where we are not reaching for them and they're planted at ground level. These are the rotunda, also those eggplant from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, and they get a really bright red. I mean, they look like a tomato on the farmer's market booth table, but they're awesome because the skin isn't bitter. They don't have as much water content, and so you can just saute them up They're not going to get mushy, you know? So they're a really great cooking eggplant. Our cherry tomatoes did a lot better as far as in the heat and the drought while we were gone. The other thing is we like put irrigation in place literally a day before we left. So there wasn't a huge testing of like, oh, you know, so there was some leaks and stuff while we were gone, and there was definitely this side that didn't get as much water because the end just popped off or whatever. So by the time we got back, there was definitely some loss. This was not our tomato year, and it wasn't for a lot of people here, so I don't feel too bad, but we definitely missed it. So no canning tomatoes or any marinara this year, but we still got to eat some, so I'm just gonna be content with that. We've got some more radishes. These are the daikon radishes that are planted here. So we're gonna give the cherry tomatoes a little more time because they've got fruit on them to continue to ripen, and then we'll cut them off and pull them out and continue to utilize the crop space underneath. Our herbs have been awesome. They've done really good despite everything. Sage, oregano, and tarragon. You know, the ducks don't really get into this anymore, which is really great too, because they used to like to climb up here and lay eggs at the top, and it was really annoying. But now that it's all really filled in, and of course we got our rosemary. Oh, you just touch it and it smells amazing. Where we're at in zone 6B, you don't see it as much. True. In Tulsa, there's big old ones at the gathering place, which is awesome. Okay. Look at this.
Oh, that's a volunteer.
Yeah, this is a volunteer squash. One of those birdhouse gourds.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that it found a place to plant itself and a trellis. So we haven't watered it, we just left it there. These are our volunteer melons. So, and there's some tomatoes on here too. That's cool. These are like tiny watermelon shaped cucumbers, and they're just really magical. They just volunteered. I don't really know what else to do with them. No, you can eat the cucamelons, I do, but I'm not gonna harvest them and take them to farmer's market. That's like way too much work. Kitty, kitty. There's a ton of tomatoes down here also. Ooh. This tour is making me hungry. Look at that. Anyways. Yeah, these ones are really dark. Oh, those don't taste good when they're like that. We had a really great blueberry harvest. That was awesome. It was really nice to have them back in the game. The milkweed has had a lot of monarch caterpillars on it. And yeah, it's just neat to see the different kinds of blooms and stuff. So this teeny tiny little corner is packed full of goodness. Because it has the goji berries, but it also has the most productive volunteer tomato plant I've ever seen. I don't know how to get to it halfway. It's like really hard, but I'll reach in here and just like pick some tomatoes every day. But they're so good. Like, we're gonna save seeds. Yeah, I don't have any idea where they came from. We've never planted this variety before, but they're really sweet, and they haven't had any irrigation or water, and they've just put on fruit all summer. So these are some awesome survivor tomatoes. And that's what we want. We want things that do really well in nature. We've had, this is our first year having figs to eat. This is the Chicago Cold Hardy fig. There's some more fruit on there that's not quite ripe yet, but we've eaten over a dozen of them. They're just delicious. Also, we got loofah everywhere. Look, there's even one on the fence back there. And here. They just come on so quick. So the loofah, I just threw seeds in the ground on the ugly fence line because one of the principles of permaculture is to utilize marginal spaces. So we have this ugly chain link fence, you know, but it's an awesome trellis for gourds. And loofah is just really like heat tolerant. This isn't irrigated at all. So it went crazy. It covered it in beautiful flowers. There were so many pollinators on this thing all summer. And now it's just covered in loofah. So they're pretty hidden in here, but there's this. I mean, let's see that. So we'll leave this on the vine as long as possible so it can dry. And then before the first frost, we'll come and cut it off and we'll put it in our garage to keep drying through the winter. And then in the spring, we'll peel off the outer shell and we'll have our sponges. There's some more in there. Yeah, but we'll get a good amount. There's quite a few. They're just hidden. You know, this is the only squash we intentionally grew this year because we've had horrible problems with squash bugs and the vine borers, and we wanted to just give our gardening area a break from those insects. So hopefully, and we haven't seen any, so it's been really good. But next year, I'm growing all the squash. Oh, there's a bell pepper. We will keep successionally sowing all the radishes and carrots we can, and kale and lettuce and other stuff. Got some bell peppers. They did okay. The reality is this area gets really shaded as soon as the elderberries and other trees get tall. So we whack the elderberry down every winter, like practically to the ground, like a foot from the ground. And then they grow up so tall that they shade everything else out. So we actually want to build a greenhouse in this spot utilizing old windows, because then we would get max like that sun for starting seeds when there isn't anything competing for sunlight, and then we would have a sheltered space in the summer when it's the hottest, you know. So just, you'll learn to utilize spaces. You have to work with nature, not against it. We're trying to trap a stinking raccoon and not kill it, but relocate it out of our zone. You got any raccoon trapping tips? Because this one's fat and smart. It gets the food and it never gets trapped. It's really annoying. But we've like relocated about 6 other ones. Hi! You guys want a cherry tomato? I got tomatoes! They love tomatoes. Look, you want one? Look at this. I gotta pop them though, because yeah. You know what that is? Look at them. Oh, I don't know if you can find it like that. Oh, that works. They wag their little butt tails. Here. Yeah. Here you go. Ready? Go get it. What am I gonna do? There you go. Here, Daisy. Daisy, that's for you. Go get it, girlie. Oh, Daisy's the slow one. Yeah, but it's okay. We still love you. All right, it's getting late. Sun's going down. We still got a lot of work to do. You know what? Growing food is a mess. It's not always perfect or pretty, and rather than being embarrassed by our Ragtag garden as it is right now, we hope that it encourages you to do whatever you can to garden and not worry about what it looks like to other people, so you can obtain a yield also of good stuff. Anyways, we hope you come and check it out again. We will try to make some more videos, and we are definitely not the how-to people, but more of the you can do this to people. So thanks for following along with us, and we hope to see you again.